guys, good morning. Today is August 4th, and today is the day that I'm taking Grayson to get his surgery done. His dad would be there, but due to COVID, they're only letting one person come in. So, I don't know, you guys, I'm having really bad cold feet. I don't want to do it. Last night was terrible. It's just, I don't know. Having major surgery or choosing for your child to have major surgery, especially at this age, is not something you ever think you're going to have to do, or something you think you're going to have to choose. And it's always like, are you making the right choice? Because even though the risks are low, they're still there, and they're really scary. And I always go to the worst case scenario, like right off the bat. I know I shouldn't do that, and I've been trying not to, and been trying to stay positive and, just pray and do all those kinds of things, but the mind is a crazy place, especially my mind, because I've always been that way, just straight to the worst thing that could possibly happen and hope that it doesn't. So anyways, this is a check-in for this morning. Sorry it's so dark in here, but Grayson's still asleep. I'm not going to wake him up until the very last minute because it's so early and he can't eat. And yeah. Anyways, I'll check in with you guys later. Bye. Grayson, good morning. Do you want to say hi? Gray, are you ignoring me? Can you say hi? Is it too early for you? Say hi. You're so cute. Are you pretending? Are you pretending to be asleep? Well, Grayson's out of surgery, and this is his hospital room. Got a little bathroom. Everything's so crazy right now because his dad can't be here, and I'm not really allowed to leave and come back. And this is the view outside. We are like 10 floors up. And the other thing that's really crazy too is when we did hospital stays with him in Oregon, the parents could order a meal off the menu with the kiddo, and you can't do that here. Here's Gray. He's very sleepy right now, and he's all wired up. I'm not going to show you down here by his abdomen, but that's where he got his big incision, and he's got blood in his urine for right now, which is normal because the type of procedure. And they gave him this cute little toy over here to play with earlier. But he's on a lot of meds right now. Hopefully he won't feel too terrible tonight. Hey V Squad, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm coming to you with an update for Grayson. So I started doing a little bit of vlogging of his procedure that he had at Le Bonheur Children's Hospital. For those of you that are new, Grayson is 2.5, and he has had a condition since he was born called vesicoreteral urinary reflux, VUR, urinary reflux, whatever you want to call it. Basically, it's a condition where his tubes, they're called ureters, that go from the kidney to the bladder and transport urine, are not inserted into the bladder deep enough. So, and it's also, they're kind of like the openings are kind of like butted up against the wall of his bladder as well. And so what happens when he urinates is he pees into his bladder, and when his bladder contracts, it squeezes urine back up the ureters, which is not supposed to happen, and into the kidneys. So because that's been going on for a while, and he has stage 5, which is like the worst stage that you can have for this condition, he has some hydrophenosis in his right kidney, which he's had for a long time. But recently we've seen some imaging that shows hydrophenosis starting in the left side, which is kind of crazy to me since the reflux is only on the right side. And then also new imaging has shown right where the ureter goes into the bladder, he has something called a diverticulum, which is basically a weak spot in the lining of the bladder. And so the best way I can describe the shape is kind of like maybe like the end of your finger up to like that second knuckle or something, and it's kind of like just sticking out from the bladder, and it's filling with urine, and it's also affecting reflux issues, and having a weak spot in your bladder is never good. If that were to burst, it could be an emergency situation. Anyways, if you want to know more about his condition, you can watch some previous videos that I've talked about, like what's wrong with my kiddo, things like that. So fast forward, he's 2.5. He's had this since he was born, and symptoms presented around, I think it was around 2 months. I don't remember. The timeline is hard for me. I always think it was like a month and a half, but symptoms presented somewhere between a month and a half and 3 months. It was as soon as I was no longer able to breastfeed him, he started getting UTIs. So fast forward to 2.5 years, we moved to Mississippi, had to find a new urology doctor that we actually trusted. We found a really great doctor through Le Bonheur Children's Hospital, and with all the new information we got, we decided to go ahead and have surgery. We went to Le Bonheur on August 4th. He had his surgery. The doctor said his surgery went great. We went to our recovery room. He didn't want to walk the first day at all, and he really didn't want to walk that next day, but we detached him from some of his devices and helped him get up. And after he walked for the first time, it was really crazy. Like after that, he just didn't want to be in the bed anymore, which is good, but I was really surprised to see that kind of turnaround. As far as the procedure went, I think he was in surgery for about 3 hours. He has 2 ureters that they had to take and reinsert into the bladder, and then they also had to repair the diverticulum, which might be why it took like a full 3 hours. And then he got general anesthesia right before going in for surgery, going back for surgery. They gave him something to calm him down. I think it was another type of anesthesia style medication. It was called VUR, I believe. And that medication, it was like he was drunk. It was so crazy, like really, really drunk. Like he couldn't hold his head up, like he was falling over. We had to hold him up. But it really did the trick, because prior to that, he was super nervous. Like even when I had to take the sterile like cleaning wipes and clean him down, and it was just me, he was freaking out, like screaming, just having a really hard time. I really honestly believe that he has like PTSD when it comes to doctors and hospitals, because he's had catheters inserted several times. He's had shots. He has had a spinal tap. He's had he had a surgery prior to this too, a circumcision surgery. Since we didn't get him circumcised at birth, he got circumcised at around 3 months old, and at that point it has to be surgical procedure, and he has to go under general. So I swear he has some PTSD. And, you know, after that happened, he went into the recovery room. We were in there for a little bit. We were put in our own room. We had wonderful nurses, like wonderful, wonderful nurses. Le Bonheur was amazing to us. Our doctor, our actual surgeon, was amazing. Our nurses let me pass his medication so he wouldn't freak out so bad. He had to have, so there's a medication you have to have when you do like
urological surgery, and especially dealing with the bladder to help spasms. Because I guess when you have surgery on your bladder, your bladder spasms and it can be really painful. So he was on that. And then for the first, I think it was 18 hours, they did suppositories. I forgot exactly what they're called, but there's something opium suppositories, and they really, really help decrease spasms. So he was on those. And then after he walked, he was doing so good that they just decided to release us at the end of that second day. So I was super stoked about that, being able to go home, especially because Grayson was doing so well. We got home later that night. Things seemed to be going well. And then I think it was like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, Grayson just started having terrible, terrible, terrible pain. And now I know that pain was from intense bladder spasms, but at the time I didn't know. So I had called the on-call doctor to try to figure out what to do. And he basically said, you can alternate Tylenol and ibuprofen every 3 hours. And then also we were only giving him anti-spasm medications at 8 a.m., 2 p.m., and 8 p.m. And so he said, go ahead and add a 4th 6-hour incremented dose in there. So we did that, and that helped a little bit, but not a whole lot. However, by the morning time, I guess it was already morning, but around like 5 or 6 o'clock, his spasms had really died down a lot, and he was doing okay. And then I continued to have communication with his attending doctor, surgeon, his surgeon's nurse. The next day, she said you can use Benadryl if his spasms get bad again. And then just said to stick to that 4 times a day dose of the anti-spasm medication. And if it gets really bad, we'd have to return, or if we noticed any signs of infection, so fever, vomiting, stuff like that. So I was like, all right. So it was a really long process and a really painful process for my little guy. However, his turnaround time has been crazy quick. He's already back to his normal self, trying to jump off of things, and I'm trying to keep him contained and no, you can't just jump off of chairs, and you can't jump on the trampoline, and we can't go swimming right now, and we can't go run around at the park. Literally the day we pulled into our driveway, he's like, Mama, Dada, park. I was like, we can't go to the park, kid. You just got surgery. We have to wait for your tummy to heal. And so he's doing really well. His incision looks great. And then a month from now, we have to go back for some imaging and make sure that the surgery was successful. Has a 95 to a 98% success rate. So I'm really hopeful that everything will be fine. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at. And I mean, the first couple of days were super rough, but we're doing pretty well now. I think the hardest thing was watching him be in pain, and then also trying to get him to eat and drink, because his appetite has been nothing. And then water or fluid really helps minimize spasms in the bladder. So we've been pushing fluids, and he's usually a kid that drinks like a fish. He loves to drink whatever all day long. It's usually water or a little bit of water with flavoring in it. He wouldn't touch it. He wouldn't touch water. He wouldn't touch flavored water, nothing. So he's super hyped up on, apple juice and cranberry juice and Gatorade and a little bit of chocolate milk. And it is what it is, because it's better for him to have a bunch of fluid in his system and not be having these spasms than it is to just not let him drink things because they have sugar in them. I'm kind of whatever. And when he heals, we will go back to minimizing the amount of juice and sugars that he gets from fluid. So yeah, that's where we are, and this is the update for Grayson's surgery. If you guys have any questions, or if I find that there's anything that I left out, because this is literally the first moment I've gotten to reflect and think about things and spit it all out here, so you guys can get an update instead of just being left to wonder, because I know you guys knew I was going into surgery. Or Grayson was going into surgery, so I wanted to get it all out here, let you know our experience, and yeah. So I hope this helps for anyone that is going through this particular issue, or even just has a kiddo that has to go in for surgery and they're scared. As long as you trust your doctor and you ask questions and you try to take care of your kid as best you can, most of the time they heal really fast and they're going to be okay. So with that being said, I think I'm going to stop this here because this video is getting super crazy long. And I'll talk to you guys later, and I hope you guys enjoyed your week and your weekend. And if you're new, subscribe, click the like button, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!